Welcome to the questions and responses on Lyme disease. And we've got this divided up into two areas. One that will be approved by the social media, and the other I can speak freely on our Dr. BVIP site. Question one for the standard social media. Jan Post 9435. Dr. B, about vitamin D and sunshine. You said 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. I heard years ago to avoid the sun from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Is the latter outdated information? That a lot of people have a fear of the sun. And when you're looking at skin disorders, melanoma, things like that, it's not from lack of sun or too much sunlight exposure. So the sun is fantastic. You're actually designed to have exposure to it. And you look away from the equator, you have to get that vitamin D from either fatty fish or, minimal exposure is going to be ideal. But 11 to 1 is when the sunlight is generally over your head. So you get the most intensity. That's why we say 20 minutes. The further the sun goes down in later on in the day or early in the morning, the light energy has to go through a whole bunch of more layers of atmosphere. That's why the sun, even at sunrise and sunset, changes color when it gets at the top because it's more diffused. It has more direct and it's more white yellow area. Avoid the sun. I'd be really suspect of somebody with that unless they're taking certain chemical therapies that can have a negative reaction in their skin on their sun with the sun exposure. So no, 11 to 1 is ideal. It's not new information. Human beings should never be afraid of getting exposed to the sun. Healthy amounts of sun are ideal, but if you get sunburned, where you're getting blisters, that means your body hasn't built up enough melanin to adapt to the prolonged exposure. So if you've never been exposed to the sun, this is why 15, 20 minutes, bare skin exposed between 11 and 1 o'clock is a great way to build it up. Question 2 from Barbara Smith. I have all these symptoms. My heart was checked, but they said it's okay, but it's not. Will a cardiac MRI show anything? More than likely not, and it's not good data in the majority of cases. I need so much help. Nothing is helping me. I've been sick for 29 months straight since the virus, December 2021. Okay, we got to get you healthy. When you look at this, the heart has two nerve supplies, one in the neck, one in the top of the thoracic area. So there could be a physical stressor addressing that. Now, knowing that you've gone through 4 years of stress and propaganda, mask wearing, media taken over, a whole bunch of things where you might have thought the world was going in one direction, but it made a 90-degree right turn or left turn. So physical stress, for sure, you got to check that out because the heart does have two nerve supplies. So on our site, the drbvip.com, I have a list of standard x-rays that I would recommend for somebody with your issues. So identify the physical stress. Chemical stress, look at bowel movements, sleep patterns. If you're sleeping incorrectly or you're not waking up refreshed, you're getting up at night to pee, even though you go right back to bed. Okay, those are all signs that your body isn't regenerating. And when you're in a stress state, the blood becomes thicker and the kidneys have to work harder. The lungs have to work harder. Blood becomes acidic and the blood has to filter out through all the joints. Every joint you got is hydraulic. It needs fluid and it gets that fluid from healthy blood. So all the stuff you're describing is from a stress state. You just have to address the underlying stressors, particularly, well, I can't talk about the virus or because the censored media or any interventions that may have been done, although those could be contributing factors. But yeah, look at the physical by identifying on x-rays and nerve scans. Look at the chemical stressors by identifying lifestyle, like if you're poor sleep patterns or you're getting up at night or you're not waking up refreshed. A look at thermographies has also great idea for identifying certain areas of the increased metabolic response that may give a clue to more chemical stressors. And then sick for 29 months, there is going to be emotional stressor, Barbara. So Address all three of those, and we have videos on that, but look for the cause, not for the adaptive response. And this is why when you're looking at high blood pressure isn't a disease, it's an adaptive response to stress. Okay, bowel disorders are generally an adaptive response. Joint pain is usually an adaptive response. So look at the underlying cause, not the low level with no critical thinking. Symptom there, chemical here. That's foolishness. But your body is given the symptoms. That's why I don't think you need an MRI to show cardiac anything, because they're going to be looking at the heart rate and rhythm. But what controls that? It's going to be the nervous system. They're not looking at the nerves. What controls the health of the blood? Because that heart has to send the blood to the kidneys and lungs, to all the tissue in the body. So they're not looking at the underlying stressors or the adaptive response. Question 3 from Michelle D. 2653. Got bit 2 years ago. Didn't get any treatment for 2 weeks. The symptoms that caused me to go to the doctor was dizziness and growing bullseye. The treatment did wipe out the rest of my energy for the 5 more days. I like that. The treatment wiped out your energy. What other options are there? I would like to know. Okay, perfect. Michelle, let's get you healthy. Okay, so when you look at this, getting bit, okay, your body is going to be able to handle any type of assault or pathogenic agent based on your ability to withstand that or adapt to that stress. So look at physical, chemical, and emotional stress load. People have been getting bit for thousands and millions of years, okay, by parasites, by, funguses, molds, yeast, ticks, spider bites, everything. And some people are going to have a huge negative reaction. Some people have no reaction. And so what's the difference between those two? Those two have to do on your immune system response. And you don't really have a system called an immune system. Each cell in your body, each system in your body has a response to environmental pathogens or something that's going to damage the tissue. And that response has to do based on your physical, chemical, and emotional stress. Because you've got this automatic nervous system, one keeps you alive under stress, and that's the sympathetic or fight or flight. When you're in a chronic state of stress, and there's only 3 stressors, physical stress, chemical stress, and emotional stress, that suppresses your body's ability to adapt or to regenerate and to rest, digest, and repair. So when you address the underlying aspect of the stressors, then your body has the ability to regenerate tissue and rebalance that autonomic activity. Some doctors will call it an autonomic dysfunction, but we call it an adaptive response. And so look at the underlying physical, chemical, and emotional stressors. And you're right. I love the treatment to wipe out the rest of my energy. It's so crazy to see some type of trauma, spider bite, tick bite, car accident, hurt here, symptom here, and they drug there. They're not looking at the underlying stressors that caused your body to not heal it. And that critical thinking of why, 10 people all get bit by a tick. Why does, 1 or 2 have an issue and 8 or 10 don't? 8 out of 10 don't. So, the critical thinking is missing in the medical world. Address the underlying stressors and your body can regenerate. Question 4 from Santino Deluxe. Hey, doc, does your son and his family use the preventative oil treatments? And how does that work for them? Okay, my son gave a response to this. Okay, but let's go to another commenter from Germany. Alia9087 moved to Germany 20 years ago, and my 2 dogs got them continually. They had a lot of hair, so sometimes I'd miss them. I had a little tool to yank them out, but didn't do anything else and never got any problems. My 4-year-old son got one on the back, my 4-year-old got one on her neck, and I did have some, so I did the same, no problems. Never did any more, never got any problems. Now, here's a great comment from my son, Michael, my oldest boy. The commenter from Germany represents the general mentality of Europeans. Ticks are a normal aspect of life. In Poland, people are extremely active and enjoy the countryside whenever possible. hiking, biking, hunting, foraging for wild mushrooms and berries. Yeah, you want to see the pictures he sends me. Nobody is concerned or scared of ticks. I have 4 indoor slash outdoor animals, and I check daily for ticks. If you do not remove them immediately, they begin to swell with blood and eventually swell so big they fall off naturally. There are no natural or even chemical products that will prevent ticks from biting, attaching to you or your animals. We've tried them all, even the toxic and terrible ones. We focus on removing ticks as soon as possible because it prevents skin irritation and swelling. The tick removal lasso works best. We've checked each other and all our animals sometimes multiple times per day because we were always outside in the forest. Focus on cultivating a healthy immune system, getting plenty of sunlight, especially direct on the area where the tick has bitten you. Sunlight helps tremendously to sterilize the skin. Yeah, that's the radiation. Apply moist heat to shrink the swelling and increase the immune system response. The most important thing is a healthy mindset. Fear and anxiety is an immune system inhibitor. There is no fear campaign in Poland, and strangely, no Lyme disease here. I mean, the cool thing. I mean, me and my boys, we went camping all the time. When I was a kid, my best friend Larry, we would go hiking, rock climbing through all of Yosemite, all of the redwoods, all of the forest, the Sierras, everywhere. Okay, all around, and we would get ticks all the time in the summertime, and it would be irritating. You'd rub, and then you'd feel this thing sticking up, and they had all sorts of urban legends where if you break it off, the head will get infected and fester. They talked about using a burning piece of wood or something to back the tick out. I didn't do any of that. I'd brush it, knock it off, and think, ooh, that was gross. Okay, there's a lot of blood, but the body will handle it. But it is based on your immune system. So look at physical, chemical, emotional stress. It's the interventions to suppress your body's response are a big contributing factor to the end result of the symptoms you're going to experience. Strengthen your immune system, and that is going to be the key. Question 5 from Windlerner. My history of Lyme is long. In short, I woke up one early morning with full body pain. The hospital ruled out rheumatoid inflammation, ruled out other diseases, and left me with Lyme, which has been confirmed by blood tests. Not a real good blood test for Lyme. I mean, you're going to see neutrophils are going to be higher in bacterial infections. Lymphocytes are higher in viral infections. They may have seen an increase in neutrophil or lymphocyte activity, but there's no definitive thing that says that this is the Lyme. I had a very bad year because nothing helped. I could even hardly remember it, but it was so bad that I thought I was going to die. As conventional medicine did not know what to do with me anymore, I started looking elsewhere for help. Within a couple of years of working with an alternative medicine doctor, I started to get better, but my joint problems remain. My feet and hands hurt. I can't clench my fist and my arm is weak. This limits my normal life, and I'm looking for a solution. I exercise as much as my body allows and eat healthy and clean all my life. Everything you've mentioned, I've used and still use. However, the rest of the problem has been bothering me. I can't find a solution. Go back to the basics, okay? The 3 different stressors. You've got to identify it. And I mean an objective analysis. Physical stress. When you're looking at an upper extremity, a lower extremity, that has to do with the health of the blood, but also the nerves that supply those extremities. Virtually every problem with the upper extremity has to do with the loss of curve in the neck, forward head carriage, which can compromise the blood supply and nerve supply to the upper extremity. So if you're working on hand pain, elbow pain, wrist pain, and you're not addressing the outlet to the thoracic area or loss of cervical, you're missing the biggest physical component. But also your ability to regenerate tissue, that's located in the neck and the pelvis. That's the parasympathetic nervous system. This is why when we talk about physical stressors, we're looking at the entire structure that holds that central nervous system and supports your body throughout your life. And so if you have a stress response that's called sympathetic or fight or flight, parasympathetic is rest, digest, and repair. So you have a tissue production problem. You have a regeneration issue. That means you're in a chronic sympathetic dominant state. So look at the physical stressors. Identify them on the x-rays. Got a list of x-rays that's pretty much a standard protocol for the majority of patients. It would be perfect for you on the Dr. B VIP site. Then look at sleep pattern changes. Are you sleeping through the night? Because that's when the body regenerates. So we're going to identify lasso curve in the neck, lasso curve in the lumbar, thoracic deviation. So you got to get those corrected. Look at sleep patterns. Poor sleep is a chemical stressor. It sounds like your diet and nutrients are good, but are you getting 2 to 3 healthy bowel movements a day? Some people will say, well, no, 1 every day. No, 2 to 3 means you're in a normal metabolic response or a common metabolic response. And so address those and then master your emotions. Just like those yogi guys, they can meditate and they can raise or lower their blood pressure. Mastering your emotions can change your physiology. So we recommend neurolinguistic programming, emotional freedom technique. The tapping is also very, very good. Eye movement desensitization response, EMDR, excellent. So there's a lot of different therapies you can address, but you have to address the physical, chemical, and emotional stressors. The majority of doctors have no way to document the physical stress. We do it on nerve scans and x-rays. No way to document the chemical stress. We do it on live blood cell analysis and thermography and the consultation. And emotional stress, very few doctors are teaching techniques to reprogram the emotional component. So address all of the underlying factors, and your body has the best chance to regenerate. Now, if your question wasn't answered here, but go to the Dr. B VIP, that's drbvip.com site, and then I can speak more freely. If your question was answered, it was too controversial for social media, so we're going to answer it back at our home, Dr. B VIP. God bless you all. Thank you for taking care of yourself, and the planet was built for you, and you were built for the planet. God bless you all.